Hey, today I'm talking about the Train to Busan trilogy. And the names of those three films are Train to Busan, Seoul Station, and Peninsula. First up is Train to Busan. This is a 2016 film that I have seen before. It's incredible. I love this movie a lot. If you're unfamiliar, the premise in its simplest terms is it's a zombie movie set on a train. And it's so good. Really, it's about how society treats the poorest amongst us and how that treatment then negatively affects the entirety of our society. And so much more stuff. It's just packed full. Firstly though, the zombies. I love the zombies in this. Like, I knew it was coming, but every single time they went into one of the zombie scenes, it was so intense and nerve-wracking. And like, I remember how the movie ended, but yet I was still like so emotionally along for the ride and terrified. Yeah, there were definitely a lot of like lines that I really loved. Like an early one was this rich guy sees this struggling unhoused man, this little girl who's just also witnessing what this guy's going through. And the rich guy says to the little girl, hey, if you don't study, you're gonna end up like him. And then she responds with something to the effect of, my mom says people who say stuff like that are bad people. It really struck a chord with me because it's like people who are unhoused aren't choosing to be unhoused. It's a lot of things went wrong in their life for them to end up on there. And honestly, like most people are one bad event away from them being unhoused. So like it makes sense to treat those who for the grace of God would be you better. I mean, not only because it could be you, but because human decency and all that other bullshit. Like, it makes sense to treat people well. I get it. So yeah, I love that a lot. And then the dad's whole arc is about learning to not be so selfish. And like, you get where he's coming from. We're in the zombie apocalypse. You do need to look out for yourself above everyone else, right? But no, we still have human decency. We can still help people. Yeah, sometimes it does literally bite them, but it is the moral thing to do, to help others when you can. Especially too, like, the more selfish you are, like the rich man in the movie, the CEO, he is by far the most selfish person, and his selfishness constantly leads to others needlessly and senselessly dying. So like, yeah, that's a big theme of the movie, is like, as a society, even though it seems good for us in the moment to be selfish, it's really not. It's better for the collective whole if we choose to help others. Like, not just to make you feel good, but as literally just, it'll lift everything up. And yeah, no, that's brilliant. I love that so much. It just has so much great messaging and ideology, and I'm just, I can't praise that enough. It's so good. There are a lot of characters, and I love that there's a lot of characters because there's just a lot of ideas here. But what I found surprising and loved is that when characters do die, because it's a zombie movie, a lot of characters die, every single death hits. Like, they all land emotionally. Even if we didn't know a ton about them, they all still got to me. And that's just such good writing that we're able to care so deeply about these characters, even with a small amount of screen time. So yeah, no, if you couldn't tell, I crazy love this movie and wholeheartedly recommend it. If you've never checked it out, it's definitely worth a watch. If you have seen it before, but it's been a while, give it a watch. If you've watched it recently, give it a rewatch. It's worth it. I'm sure there's little bits and pieces of stuff that you missed along the way. So yeah, no, frickin' amazing film, without a doubt, recommend. Next up is Seoul Station. This is, again, a 2016 film. It is a prequel to Train to Busan. The basic premise is, this is like the 8 or so hours prior to the events of Train to Busan. So it's in Seoul as the zombie outbreak is starting. And we mostly follow this young woman who is basically an unhoused prostitute as she's struggling to deal with what's going on, as well as some people looking for her. It's, again, really good. I crazy loved the main character. She is such an interesting, unique person. Ran away from home, ended up working in a brothel, escaped the brothel, then ended up still doing prostitution elsewhere. That's just such an interesting story. Especially too, because like a lot of it is how she keeps falling into these traps. She just follows along to whatever a man nearby is doing. Like, she'll just kind of blindly listen to them just because she feels she needs to. Like, that's the way she was raised. But that keeps getting her into worse and worse situations. Like, the guy she's with her boyfriend is such a piece of shit. He wants to use her to prostitute to get money so that he can game, all while pretending to love her. But like, I get how they ended up in this situation, because he's like, oh, here's my golden ticket. And for her, she's like, oh, here's this guy that loves me and will give me all this affection that I need. But he's really just an asshole, and she just can't recognize that fact because she's just been so ingrained to believe that that's what she needs. That's just so interesting, such good writing, so sad, so incredibly sad. And then again, it does also do a lot of commentary on the unhoused. This one has a lot of unhoused people in the story and has regular day people more clearly shitting on the unhoused to not really even like hide the metaphor for stuff. Like the very first zombie in this film, so many regular life people see him but decide to not do anything because they're like, oh, he's a homeless guy, we shouldn't help him, he probably brought this on himself. But like that led to everything going to hell. So it again just reinforces the ideas of, no, we really need to help the worst off amongst us because it is bad for society if we don't. So yeah, that was just great. I love that a lot. I crazy love this movie and would again recommend it. It doesn't quite reach the same heights as Train to Busan, but it's definitely a great companion piece for it. You can watch it on its own, you can watch them in either order, but both films are definitely without a doubt worth a watch. And lastly is Peninsula. This is a 2020 film, and it's a notable step down. There's still good stuff here, but it's just okay. The basic premise is this is set 4 years after the events of Train to Busan, and we follow this guy who was in the armed forces at the time of the first film. Now he's a refugee in Hong Kong. He's desperate for money, so these gangsters sent him back to Korea to retrieve some American money, but whilst there, they run into trouble that is mostly people related with some zombie issues as well. I was not a fan of the very beginning of the movie because that part is set during like the immediate outbreak, and part of it is because I feel like they broke the rules of the zombies insofar as they're going to this boat to get out of the peninsula, and somehow a person got on while infected, but they established multiple times that the infection takes over very fast. If you get bit in the neck, it's practically instant. Now you can slow it down, like the very first one we see in Train to Busan, she was scratched on the leg. She then tied off her leg, and that slowed it down a bit. But she was still very visibly really affected by it throughout that entire experience. And like the amount of time that we see characters get onto this boat is way too long of a time for no one to notice this guy is turning into a zombie. And I get what they were going for. They wanted an outbreak on a boat, and they wanted this big tragedy thing to happen. But I don't think they did it right. The new post-apocalyptic world on the peninsula is interesting. I mean, you got like this gang society, and you got this family that's in hiding from stuff. And then like a lot of the movie is car-related action set pieces. And to me, it really just felt like a kid playing with toy cars, just being like, oh, look what this one can do. What happens if I smash these two together? And like that is fun as a concept. I can definitely get behind. But when you have a film so incredible as Train to Busan, with all this really great nuanced commentary on society, and then you got this one that's mostly just fun car action set pieces, it doesn't quite gel. It doesn't quite line up. It's not bad by any means. Like, it's definitely entertaining and interesting, and there's definitely some really good, interesting character moments, but then there's also a lot of silly moments. Like, there's a couple of kids in this one, and one of them is driving the car, and it's just like something out of Power Rangers. It's so silly. It's so goofy. It really took me out of the experience. So I still liked it. I still thought it was fine. But despite my misgivings, would I recommend it? If you really like zombie movies, yes, sure. There's definitely fun to be had with this film. If what got you with Train to Busan was all of the social commentary, this does have some, but that's not really what it's about this time around. So I would probably say skip it in that regards. Like, you might be able to still enjoy it for its fun, silly action stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit disappointing, though it was still fine. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Train to Busan sitting at number 13 in the really like section. And then after that is Seoul Station sitting at number 59, again in the really like section. And then bringing up up the rear is Peninsula, sitting at number 148 in the liked section. And this have a total of 243 old movies this year.